Hey y'all, so this video is actually going to be about Thailand. Since I just got back from a 2-week vacation, I wanted to talk about something that I wish I had watched a video on before I left, and that is how not to get ripped off in Thailand. I really did enjoy my time in Thailand. This is not like bashing Thailand in any way. These are just some tips because I didn't realize, I knew Thailand was really big on tourism, but I didn't realize how prepared Thailand was for tourists. I felt like most of my time spent there was me trying to kind of shoo away tuk-tuk drivers and taxi drivers and massage therapists and you know, bargaining my way to getting things, and pretty much I had to bargain my way through the entirety of Thailand no matter where I was, and I just wish I had really prepared myself for that. So my first tip would be wherever you go, know the prices of things in the area and know how likely they are to bargain with you and how willing they are to bargain with you. Know the general starting prices and the actual prices that most people pay for things in that area. We found that in the north, they're way more likely to bargain with you because they don't get as many tourists. And also in general, the south has a lot more islands, so islands are more expensive to get things on, so things are inflated because of it. So we did all of our shopping in the north. Once you already kind of have an idea of how much something should be in the area that you're at, start really low. I came to Thailand having no bargaining experience whatsoever. I left having a little bit more experience, but in general, I am not confrontational. I am not a bargainer, and I had to just kind of learn on my feet. For example, if I wanted to buy a pair of pants for maybe 250, maybe 300 baht, I walked up to this lady and I was like, okay, how much are these? And she said, 600 baht. I was like, oh, that's too much. How about 200? We ended up settling for 400, and I was like, no, that's still too much. She said, that's as low as I'm gonna go, so I walked away and ended up buying them for much cheaper somewhere else. But my friend pulled me aside and he was like, if you wanted to pay 250 or 300, 200 should not be your starting bid. Like 100 should be your starting bid. And this seems like intuitive to some people, but to me it just was like, oh, I guess, yeah, you're right. I should have started lower. Stand firm, don't be afraid to walk away, especially with tuk-tuk drivers. I find they're constantly trying to rip you off. If a tuk-tuk driver is parked on the side of the road, they're probably gonna try and rip you off. When my friend and I got into Chiang Mai, when we got out of the bus station, there was a guy there who wanted to charge us 500 baht for like a 10-minute trip, which is insane, first of all. And second of all, like, we wouldn't pay it even if it wasn't insane. And we tried bargaining with him. He was like, no, that's the most you're ever gonna get from anybody around here. We're like, fine, we'll walk. And he's like, then walk. So we started walking away. We saw him get some other foreigners in his tuk-tuk, so he obviously wasn't too miffed about it. But we literally walked away from the station, turned the corner, flagged down a tuk-tuk, and he was like, 150? I mean, it was insane. It was insane just because the guy was parked and just because of where we were. We were obviously right next to the station and we had some big bags. He thought that he could just scam the daylights out of us. 150 is still pretty expensive, but much more reasonable than 500. The next thing would be, do try to remember that you are a foreigner. And my friends and I just started calling it like the foreigner tax. There's no way that we could end up paying like Thai prices for things. It's pretty obvious that we're foreigners, you know, so even if you bargain it down, you're never gonna get like the rock bottom prices that the locals will pay. That's just the way that it is. You have to pay a tax for being a tourist. Get over it. But that being said, like, do try to bargain your way down to something you're a little more comfortable with and something that you feel is a little more reasonable for your budget and how much you've got to spend. Another tip would be actually to don't sweat the small baht. The key is that you don't get too taken advantage of. And this tip comes from us walking around, I think it was on Koh Phi Phi, and we overheard this girl and she was talking to a store lady, and the lady said 5 baht. Literally like 5 baht, not 500, not 50, 5 baht. And the girl said, no, how about 2? And my friend and I just looked at each other and we're like, is she really arguing over 3 baht? Like that's like arguing over a cent. I mean, less than a cent. And we just thought it was a bit goofy, honestly. Another tip for not getting ripped off in Thailand would be to ask the locals where they go to eat. This is something that we did in a lot of the hostels we went to. We did a scuba diving course, so we asked like the scuba diving instructors, where do you go to eat on this island? And we found some of our favorite places, some of the best food for really, really reasonable prices compared to like the bigger touristy areas where everybody else was going. Much, much cheaper, much better food, super local, felt like really, really cool. The ambiance was much more legitimate feeling to us. And we really enjoyed it. And all it took was 2 seconds of being like to the receptionist at the hostel, hey, where do you go to eat? And my last tip is know what to look for if someone's trying to scam you. For example, we were trying to catch our boat, but we were running very, very late. So we walked into this traveling agency and we're like, we need to get to this boat, where is it? And she's like, oh, that's 30 minutes away. And literally, like the boat was supposed to leave in 30 minutes. We started freaking out. She called over our tuk-tuk friend and he was like, oh, 500 baht, which is an insane price, first of all, but we ended up agreeing because we were so crunched on time. So we got in this tuk-tuk driver's, tuk-tuk, and he's taking us places, and we already know that we're getting ripped off, so we're kind of aware that he might try to do it for something else. And sure enough, halfway through the trip, wasting time, the guy stops in front of another travel agency place, and he's like, here, you can buy your tickets to the boat here. And actually gets out of the tuk-tuk. We're like, no, we don't want to buy our tickets here. We'll just buy it at the place. And he's like, no, it's cheaper here. And I ended up having to kind of fuss at him and get a little, loud, because I was like, no, you get back over here and you get in this tuk-tuk and you take us to the boat, to the pier. Like, that's a great way for them to scam people. They'll just like take them to a place that's not actually what they asked for and try to get them to pay exorbitant prices. So once we got to the actual pier, we bought the tickets like we planned and got on the boat for like the set price that we expected to pay. But I'm pretty sure if we'd like gone in with that guy, we would have paid more than we needed to for the same exact tickets, and probably would have missed our boat because it's wasting time. Another example would be, I was trying to find a massage class for us to take, and I was looking online on TripAdvisor and I found this massage class, and I emailed the lady and I was like, oh hey, we might be interested, where would we go to take a class? And she emails me back and she's like, oh, well, you need to just come to this place in the morning at this time and we'll come pick you up and take you to the location. And my friend was like, that's really sketch. So we went online and we actually really, really looked at the massage classes TripAdvisor's like recommendations, and they were all like weird English, or they also mentioned this lady's name specifically, even though it was supposed to be a company. And then even if we went to like the very, very end, we saw people complaining that like she said she picked them up and she never showed, or they tried to find the location of the place and it wasn't actually there. And we were like, wow, like we almost lost a kidney. Thank goodness we actually like really tried to look this up. So when you're looking at things, like especially events and things you want to do, make sure that the recommendations and the reviews are real, because that's a great way for people to scam you. They just write all the reviews themselves. And a good thing about a place where English is not the native language is you can kind of tell if you really, really look at it carefully. All this being said, I know I'm making Thailand sound like this like super sketch place that's constantly trying to separate you from your money. That's not entirely the case. We still definitely enjoyed ourselves. I would say just be aware. And be prepared for bargaining mostly. Just be ready to fight for your dollar or your baht. And other than that, we still had a really good time. And I'm happy to be back in Korea though. And I'm more happy to be making more videos for you guys on my newly acquired camera that I'm super excited about. So I will see you guys next time. If you have anything you want me to talk about, put it in the comments below, and that's it.